She was invisible. Until she wasn't. What happens when hospital bullies push the wrong nurse too far? What happens when the quiet woman they mocked turns out to be someone they should have feared? This is the story of Sarah, a nurse, ghost, a soldier. In the day, everything changed. Before we begin, hit that like button, subscribe, and share this story. You won't want to miss what happens next. They called her the ghost, not because she was scary. Because she was invisible, Sarah moved through the emergency department like a shadow. No one saw her. No one noticed. She was just another nurse in blue scrubs, her hair tied back, her face calm, but that's exactly how she wanted it. The night shift at Metro General was chaos. Sirens wailed outside. Gurneys crashed through double doors. Doctors barked orders. Nurses ran in every direction. Sarah worked quietly in the corner, checking vitals, starting IVS. Her hands never shook. Her voice never rose. Dr. Marcus Chen didn't even look at her when he threw the chart. It hit the floor near her feet. "Nurse," he snapped. "I need those labs 5 minutes ago." Sarah picked up the chart. Her face showed nothing. "They're already in the system, doctor." He turned, annoyed. "Then why am I waiting?" She tapped the computer screen. The results glowed green. Complete. Dr. Chen grabbed the mouse from her hand. He didn't say thank you. He never did. Sarah stepped back. Disappeared again. In the break room, the other nurses whispered, "He treats her like dirt." Melissa said, sipping cold coffee. "She never fights back," added Tom. "It's like she doesn't care. Maybe she's just weak," said Dr. Patricia Vance, the ER chief. She stood in the doorway, arms crossed. Some people aren't cut out for high-pressure medicine. The room went quiet. Sarah was standing right there. Pouring tea? She didn't turn around. Dr. Vance smirked and walked away. That night, Sarah worked through her shift without a word. She cleaned wounds, administered medications, held the hand of a scared child while doctors stitched his forehead. She was good at her job, maybe too good, but no one noticed. At 2 a.m., the ER quieted. Sarah sat at the nurse's station, updating charts. The fluorescent lights hummed overhead. The smell of antiseptic hung in the air. Dr. Chen walked past. He was on his phone, laughing. "Yeah, she's like a robot," he said to whoever was listening. "No personality, no backbone, just there." He didn't bother lowering his voice. Sarah's pen kept moving. Her handwriting stayed perfect. She didn't look up, but her jaw tightened. Just for a second, at 6 a.m., Sarah clocked out. She walked through the parking garage, her footsteps echoing. She unlocked her old Honda, slid into the driver's seat. Then she sat there, breathing. The steering wheel was cold under her hands in the rearview mirror. Her eyes were sharp, alert. Nothing like the soft, quiet woman the hospital saw. She pulled out her phone. 3 missed calls. All from the same number she didn't call back. Not yet. Instead, she drove home to her small apartment. Made tea. Stared out the window at the city waking up. People like Dr. Chen thought they knew her. They thought she was weak, forgettable, safe. They had no idea. Sarah's apartment was simple. A couch, a table, a bookshelf with medical textbooks. But in the back of her closet, behind the winter coats, was a locked case. Inside that case was a different life. A life the hospital would never understand. A life she'd left behind, or so she thought. Because at that exact moment, 300 miles away, a man in a black suit was opening a red folder. Inside was a photograph. Sarah's photograph, and underneath, in bold letters, a single word: reactivate. The next shift started the same way. Chaos, yelling, doctors who didn't say thank you. But something was different. Sarah felt it, a tension in the air, a weight pressing down. She scanned the waiting room. Nothing unusual. Families, sick children, an old man coughing. But her instincts, the ones she'd trained for years to trust, were screaming. Something was coming, something big. The ambulance arrived at 3 p.m. No sirens. No warning, just the screech of tires and the slam of doors. Sarah was restocking supplies when she heard it. That sound? The one that made everyone in the ER stop and look. Heavy boots. Multiple sets, not paramedics. She stepped into the hallway. 6 men in tactical gear flooded through the entrance. Black uniforms, no badges. Their faces were hard, professional. They weren't pointing weapons. Not yet, but their hands hovered near their holsters. The lead man was tall, broad-shouldered. He scanned the room like a predator. "We need this building locked down," he announced. Now, Dr. Vance pushed through the crowd. "Excuse me, this is a hospital." "You can't just, ma'am, step back." His voice was ice. She froze. The tactical team spread out. 2 men moved to the entrances. 2 more headed for the stairwells. Sarah's pulse didn't change. She watched. Assessed. These weren't cops. Not FBI, something else. Dr. Chen appeared, his face red. What the hell is going on? The lead man ignored him. He pulled out a tablet, tapped the screen. "We're looking for a patient," he said. "Brought in 40 minutes ago. Gunshot wound." The ER went silent. Sarah's mind raced. She'd seen that patient. Treated him. Young guy, early 20s, bleeding from the shoulder. He'd given a fake name. She'd known it immediately. "He's in Trauma Bay 3. "What?" Vance said, her voice shaking. "But you can't just storm in here." "We can," the man said flatly. "And we will." He nodded to his team. 2 men moved toward the trauma bays. That's when the lights went out. Not all of them. Just the main overhead's emergency lighting kicked in, red pulsing, somewhere in the building. An alarm started screaming. The tactical team leader cursed. He grabbed his radio. "Alpha 2. Report. Static. Alpha 2. Do you copy?" Nothing. Sarah's stomach dropped. This wasn't a lockdown, this was a trap. The glass doors at the entrance exploded inward, not from a blast. From bullets, everyone hit the floor, screaming, crying. Sarah dove behind the nurse's station. Her heart hammered, but her hands were steady. 3 men rushed in. Not tactical gear. Street clothes. Weapons raised. They weren't here to arrest anyone. They were here to kill. The first shot hit the wall behind Dr. Chin's head. He scrambled backward, screaming. The tactical team returned fire. The ER became a war zone. Sarah's training kicked in. She assessed. 6 civilians in the open. For behind cover, 2 elderly patients in wheelchairs near the entrance, 2 exposed. She moved low, fast, silent. She reached the first wheelchair, grabbed the handles, and pulled the old woman behind a concrete pillar. "Stay down," Sarah whispered. The woman nodded, too terrified to speak. Sarah went back for the second patient. Bullets zipped overhead. She didn't flinch. Dr. Vance was pressed against the wall, hyperventilating. "They're going to kill us," she gasped. "They're going to." Sarah grabbed her arm. "Look at me." Dr. Vance's eyes were wild. "Breathe," Sarah said, her voice calm. "In through your nose. Out through your mouth. How are you so calm?" Dr. Vance whispered. Sarah didn't answer. She scanned the room. The attackers were advancing. The tactical team was pinned down. This was going to get worse. She spotted the trauma bay. The door was still open. The patient. The gunshot victim. That's who they wanted. Sarah made a decision. She stood up. "What are you doing?" Dr. Vance hissed. Sarah didn't answer. She walked toward the trauma bay, not running. Not hiding, walking, like she belonged there. One of the attackers turned, raised his weapon. Sarah's eyes met his, and something in her gaze made him hesitate. Just for a second, it was enough. She slipped into the trauma bay and locked the door. The young man on the gurney was awake. His eyes were wide with fear. "They're here for you," Sarah said quietly. He nodded. "I know. Who are you?" A witness, Sarah understood. She moved to the window. 3 stories up. No fire escaped. She checked the door. Solid, but it wouldn't hold forever. She needed help. Real help. She pulled out her phone. Her fingers moved fast. A number she hadn't called in 2 years. It rang once. "This is Reyes." Sarah's voice was steady. "It's Ghost. I need an extraction." Silence. Then, "You're not active." "I am now." Another pause. Location. Metro General Hospital. Multiple hostels. Civilian casualties imminent. Copy QRF is 12 minutes out. 12 minutes, an eternity, I'll hold, Sarah said. She hung up. The young man stared at her. "Who are you?" Sarah didn't answer. She pulled the crash cart away from the wall. Behind it was a ventilation grate. She grabbed a scalpel and started unscrewing. Outside, the gunfire intensified. Someone was pounding on the door. "Open up," a voice shouted. Sarah worked faster. The grate came loose. The duct was narrow, dark, but it led to the roof. "Can you move?" Sarah asked the patient. He nodded. "Then follow me." She climbed into the duct first behind her. The door splintered. 12 minutes. She just had to survive 12 minutes. The ductwork was tight. Metal. Cold. Sarah crawled forward, her elbows scraping. The patient followed behind her, breathing hard. Below them, she heard shouting. The crash of the trauma bay door breaking open. "She's gone." Someone yelled. Sarah kept moving. The duct sloped upward. Her arms burned. She ignored it. Behind her, the patient was struggling. "I can't," he gasped. "I can't breathe." Sarah stopped. Turned her head. "Yes, you can," she said quietly. "You're in shock. Control your breathing. In, out, slow." He tried, failed. She waited. "Patient. I'm going to die," he whispered. "Not today," Sarah said. Something in her voice steadied him. He nodded. Kept crawling, they reached the roof access. Sarah pushed the grate open. Fresh air hit her face. She climbed out, then pulled the patient up after her. The roof was flat, gravel crunching under her feet. The city sprawled around them, lights blinking in the dusk. Sarah scanned the perimeter. No immediate threats, but that would change. She checked her phone. 8 minutes. The patient collapsed against the air conditioning unit, clutching his shoulder. "Who are you?" he asked again. Sarah knelt beside him, checked his wound. The bandage was holding. "Someone who's trying to keep you alive." "They killed my partner," he said. His voice cracked. "He was a federal agent. We were investigating a trafficking ring. He got shot." "I ran." Sarah listened. "I have evidence," he continued. "On a drive. They want it. They'll kill everyone in that hospital to get it." Sarah's jaw tightened. She stood up, pulled out her phone again. Reyes. Situation update. Target is a federal witness. Hostiles are willing to engage in mass casualty event. Copy QRF is moving faster. 6 minutes. Sarah looked at the roof access door. It was starting to open. "They're coming," she said. She moved the patient behind the AC unit. "Stay here. Don't move. Don't make a sound." "What are you going to do?" Sarah picked up a piece of metal piping from the roof, tested its weight by time. The door burst open. 2 men stepped out. Weapons drawn. They saw Sarah immediately. She was standing in the open, unarmed, just a nurse in blue SC, RUBS. One of them laughed. "You picked the wrong day to play hero." Lady Sarah didn't move. "Leave the hospital," she said. "There are innocent people down there." The man stepped closer. "Where's the witness?" "Gone." He raised his gun, pointed it at her head. Last chance. Sarah's heart was steady, her breathing calm. She'd been here before. Different country, different enemy, same stakes. "I'm giving you one warning," she said quietly. "Walk away," the man smirked. "Or what?" Sarah moved fast. She closed the distance in 2 steps. knocked the gun aside with her left hand, struck his throat with her right. He went down gasping. The second man fired. Sarah was already moving. The bullet sparked off the gravel where she'd been standing. She used the first attacker as a shield. Grabbed his weapon. The second man hesitated. Sarah didn't. She fired. Not to kill. To disable, the bullet hit his shoulder. He dropped, screaming. Sarah kicked his weapon away. Then she stood there, breathing, 2 men down. Gun in her hand. This was who she used to be, who she still was. The roof access door opened again, this time. For men, Sarah raised the weapon. But then she heard it. A sound that made her heart soar. Helicopters not. 1, 3, black, unmarked. They descended from the sky like angels of war. Rappel lines dropped. Figures in tactical gear slid down. Not hospital. Security, not local police. These were her people. The 4 men on the roof. Froze. One of them ran. He made it 3 steps before. Sniper round took him down. Non-lethal leg. Shot. The others raised their hands. Within seconds, the tactical team secured the roof. Sarah lowered her weapon. A man approached. Tall, graying hair. Hard eyes. He wore no rank insignia, but his presence was unmistakable. "Captain," he said. Sarah's throat tightened. "I'm not active, Colonel. You are now." He looked at the 2 men she'd taken down. "Still got it, I see?" Sarah didn't smile. "There are more downstairs." "Civilians are in danger?" The colonel nodded. He spoke into his radio. "Alpha team, sweep the ER. Rules of engagement, minimal force. Protect the civilians. Copy. Within minutes." The hospital was swarming with federal operatives. The attackers didn't stand a chance. Sarah watched from the roof as they were dragged out in handcuffs. The patient, the witness, was loaded onto a helicopter. He looked back at Sarah. She nodded. He was safe. The colonel stood beside her. "You disappeared 2 years ago," he said. "I needed to, and now." Sarah looked at the hospital below. At the ER, where she'd worked, where she'd been invisible, I don't know, she said honestly. The colonel pulled an envelope from his jacket, handed it to her. "Your country needs you, Captain. This is bigger than one witness. We have intelligence on a cell operating in this city. You're the only one who can get close." Sarah took the envelope. "Didn't open it. I'm a nurse now. You're a soldier," the colonel said. "You always will be." He walked toward the helicopter. Sarah stood there. Alone, the envelope was heavy in her hands. Below, the ER was coming back to life. Lights flickering on. Civilians being evacuated safely. She'd save them, but at what cost? Her cover was blown. Everyone had seen her. Seen what she could do? There was no going back to invisible. She opened the envelope. Inside was a single photograph. A man, middle-aged, businessman, and a note. "He's planning an attack. 3 days. You're our only asset." Sarah closed her eyes. She'd left this life for a reason, but some things you can't escape. Things are in your blood. Sarah stood in the empty break room. The hospital was quiet now. The tactical teams had left. The wounded had been transferred. The crime scene investigators were packing up, but the silence was heavy. She poured coffee. Her hands were steady. The door opened. Dr. Vance stepped in. Her face was pale, her eyes red from crying. She stared at Sarah. "Who are you?" She whispered. Sarah took a sip of coffee, said nothing. "I saw what you did up there," Dr. Vance continued. "The way you moved. The way you handled them." Sarah set down her cup. "I'm a nurse. Bullshit." Dr. Vance's voice cracked. "I've been a doctor for 15 years. I've never seen anyone do what you did." Sarah met her eyes. "You saw a nurse protecting her patients." Dr. Vance shook her head. "Those men. They had guns. You took them down with your bare hands." "I did what was necessary." Dr. Vance stepped closer. "The federal agents? They called you captain?" Sarah's jaw tightened. Who are you? Dr. Vance asked again, before Sarah could answer. The door opened again. Dr. Chen? He looked different. Shaken, smaller.
Ow.
He'd seen everything too. I need to talk to you, he said to Sarah. Dr. Vance glanced between them, then left silently. Dr. Chen stood there, hands in his pockets. I owe you an apology, he said finally. Sarah said nothing. I've been awful to you. I treated you like you were nothing. Yes, Sarah said simply. You did, he flinched. I thought you were just… He struggled for words. I didn't know. You didn't need to know, Sarah said. You just needed to treat me with respect. Dr. Chen looked at the floor. You saved my life today, he said quietly. When that bullet came at me, you pushed me out of the way, Sarah remembered. In the chaos, in the gunfire, she'd moved on instinct. That's my job, she said. No, Dr. Chen looked up. Your job is to take orders from doctors like me, not to risk your life for them? Sarah picked up her coffee again. I don't leave people behind. The words hung in the air. Dr. Chen nodded slowly. Then he left. Sarah finished her coffee. Her phone buzzed. A text. From the colonel. Decision time. 24 hours. She deleted it. The next morning, Sarah came to work early. The ER was different. Quieter. Everyone looked at her differently. Melissa approached first. Hey, she said softly. You okay? Sarah nodded. That was intense yesterday. Melissa hesitated. Everyone's talking about what you did. I just did my job, Sarah. Melissa's voice dropped. You took down armed men. With your hands? That's not normal. Sarah didn't respond. Tom appeared. Then two other nurses. They stood around her. Not threatening, just curious, respectful. Who are you? Tom asked. Really? Sarah looked at them. These people she'd worked with for months. People who'd ignored her, dismissed her. Now they saw her. Finally, I'm someone who's done things I'm not proud of, Sarah said quietly. And I came here to forget. Forget what? Melissa asked. Sarah's eyes were distant. War. The words settled over them like ash. Tom nodded slowly. Military? Sarah didn't confirm. Didn't deny. Thank you, he said. For saving us. The others echoed him. Sarah felt something crack inside her chest. She'd spent so long being invisible, being no one, and now they saw her. But was this who she wanted to be? That afternoon, the hospital administrator called her to his office. Mr. Patterson was a thin man with wire-rimmed glasses. He looked nervous. Nurse Sarah? He began. Please sit. She sat. He shuffled papers. Yesterday was unprecedented. Sarah waited. The federal agents, the attack. And your response? I protected my patients, Sarah said. Yes, you did. He cleared his throat. But you also revealed that you have training, significant training. Sarah said nothing. The board is concerned. He continued. We need to know. Are you some kind of undercover agent? Is this hospital under investigation? No. Then why were you here? Sarah met his eyes. Because I needed to be someone else for a while? Mr. Patterson leaned back. The board wants you gone. Sarah wasn't surprised. They think you're a liability, he continued. That you lied on your application? That you might bring more danger to this hospital, I understand. But I'm not firing you, Sarah. He looked up. Mr. Patterson pulled off his glasses. Rubbed his eyes. My daughter was in the ER yesterday, he said quietly. She cut her hand. She was getting stitches when the shooting started, Sarah remembered. The teenager in Bay 7? You got her out, Mr. Patterson continued. You shielded her with your own body. My daughter is alive because of you. His voice cracked. So I don't care what you were, or who you are. You're a hero, and you're staying? Sarah felt that crack in her chest widen. Thank you. She whispered, She left his office, walked through the ER. People nodded at her, smiled. It felt strange. She went to the roof. The same roof where everything had changed? The city stretched before her. Endless, her phone. Buzzed again. The colonel, time's up. Captain, we need an answer. Sarah stared at the message. She thought about the mission, the target, the lives at stake. She thought about the hospital, the patients, the simple act of healing. She thought about who she was, who she wanted to be. Her finger hovered over the screen. Then she made her choice. She typed a single word, but before she could hit send, she heard footsteps behind her. She turned. A man in a black suit, earpiece, sunglasses. Captain Sarah Chen, he said. Her heart sank. Yes, you need to come with me. Why? He stepped aside. Behind him, 3 black SUVs pulled into the hospital parking lot. Doors opened. Men in suits emerged. And in the center, stepping out of the middle vehicle, was a man Sarah recognized. Even from a distance, his uniform was decorated with ribbons. Stars gleamed on his shoulders. 4-star general, he looked up at the roof, looked directly at her, and saluted. Sarah descended the stairs slowly. Each step felt heavier. Then the last, she pushed through the ER doors. Into the parking lot, the general stood waiting, ramrod straight, his silver hair gleaming in the afternoon sun behind him. His security detail fanned out, professional, alert. Every eye in the ER was watching through the windows. Dr. Vance, Dr. Chen, Melissa, Tom, all of them. Sarah stopped 3 feet from the general. He held his salute. At ease, soldier, he said. Sarah didn't move. I'm not active, sir. You're always active, Captain. His voice was firm. Once a soldier, always a soldier. The ER doors opened. Hospital security rushed out. Sir, you can't. One of the general's men stepped forward. Flashed a badge. The security guard went pale. Backed away. The general's eyes never left Sarah. We need to talk, he said. With respect, sir, I've made my decision. I know. The general gestured to one of the SUVs. But you need to hear this first. Sarah hesitated. Then she followed him. Inside the SUV, the air was cold. Leather seats, tinted windows. The general sat across from her, opened a tablet. 4 days ago, we intercepted chatter about a planned attack, he began. Chemical weapon. Dispersed in a crowded location, Sarah's blood ran cold. We traced it to a cell operating in this city, he continued. We've been hunting them for 6 months. Getting nowhere. He swiped the screen, showed her a photograph. A warehouse. Industrial district. This is their base. We confirmed it yesterday, then raid it, Sarah said. We can't. The general's jaw tightened. They have hostages. 12 people, civilians. If we go in hot, they'll execute them. Sarah stared at the photograph. We need someone who can get inside, the general said. Someone they won't suspect. Someone with your skill set? I'm a nurse. You're a Tier 1 operator. His voice cut like a blade. You've conducted 37 high-value target missions. You have more close-quarters combat experience than anyone in my command. Sarah looked away. That was a different life. Those hostages don't care about your life choices, the general said bluntly. They care about living. Sarah's fists clenched. You're asking me to become her again? I'm ordering you. Sarah met his eyes. You can't order me. I resigned. The general leaned back. You're right. I can't order you. He closed the tablet. But I can ask. As one soldier to another, as one human being to another, silence filled the SUV. What happened to you, Sarah? He asked quietly. You were the best. You never hesitated. And then one day, you just walked away. Sarah's throat tightened. I killed a kid, she whispered. The general waited Afghanistan 2 years ago. We raided a compound. Intel said it was a bomb maker. I cleared the rooms. Found a figure in the dark, gun in hand. I fired her, voice cracked. It was a boy, 14. The gun was a toy. The general's face softened. I read the report, he said. It was dark. He was in the wrong place. You made a split-second decision. I made the wrong decision. You made a human decision. Sarah shook her head. That boy is dead because of me, and 12 people will be dead if you don't help us. The words hit like a punch. Sarah closed her eyes. She saw the boy's face. Every night. In her dreams, could she live with 12 more? If I do this, she said slowly, it's the last time. After this, done. Forever, the general nodded. Agreed. He opened the door. Sarah stepped out. The ER staff was still watching. Faces pressed against the glass. The general climbed out after her. He stood at attention. Then he saluted again. Not a casual salute. A formal one, Captain Sarah Chen, he announced. His voice carried across the parking lot. It's an honor to serve with you again. Sarah's heart hammered. Every person in that, heard it, Captain? The word echoed. Dr. Chen's face went white. Dr. Vance's mouth fell open. Melissa looked like she might. Faint Sarah returned the salute. Slowly, the general smiled. Your team is waiting. Briefing in 30 minutes. He climbed back into the SUV. The convoy pulled away. Sarah stood alone in the parking lot. She turned toward the ER. The doors opened. Dr. Vance stepped out first. Then Dr. Chen. Then the nurses. Security guards. Even patients. They formed a line, just watching her. Sarah walked toward them. Dr. Chen stepped forward. Captain, Sarah nodded. I called you a robot, he said, his voice shaking. I said you had no backbone. Sarah stopped in front of him. You were wrong, she said simply. Dr. Vance approached. Why didn't you tell us? Because I didn't want to be that person anymore. And now. Sarah looked at the sky. At the clouds drifting past. Now I don't have a choice. She walked past them. Into the ER, to the locker room. She opened her locker, pulled out her purse. Her keys. Her phone buzzed. A message. From the Colonel briefing room. Fort Carson. 1 hour. Sarah changed out of her scrubs. Put on jeans. A jacket. Looked at herself in the mirror. The nurse stared back, but behind her eyes. The soldier was waking up. She left the hospital. Didn't say goodbye. She drove to the address the colonel sent. An unmarked building on the outskirts of the city, inside a conference room. Maps on the walls. Satellite images. 6 operators sat around the table. All men. All hardened. They looked up when she entered. One of them whistled. This is our secret weapon? A girl? Sarah didn't react. The colonel entered behind her. That girl has more confirmed kills than everyone in this room combined. The room went. Silent, Sarah sat down. The colonel pulled up a schematic of the warehouse. This is the target, he began. 12 hostages. 8 tangos. Chemical weapon on site. He looked at Sarah. Your mission. Infiltrate. Neutralize the threat. Extract the hostages. Timeline. Sarah asked. 18 hours? After that, they moved the weapon. Sarah studied the schematic. Entrances. 3. All guarded ventilation. Mapped. Sarah nodded. Her mind was racing, calculating, planning. This was what she did. This was who she was. I'll need 2 things. She said, name them. A civilian vehicle. And a first aid kit? The colonel frowned. First aid kit. Sarah smiled, cold. I'm going in as a nurse. The warehouse smelled like rust and fear. Sarah approached on foot. No backup. No weapons visible. Just a nurse with a red medical bag, too. Guards stood at the entrance. Young, nervous, they raised their rifles when they saw her stop. One commanded. Sarah stopped. Hands visible, please, she said, her voice shaking. I'm a nurse. I heard gunshots. Is anyone hurt? The guards exchanged glances. Get lost, lady. I can help, Sarah insisted. I have medical supplies. One guard stepped closer. Suspicious. He grabbed her bag. Dumped it out. Bandages. Gauze. Antiseptic. All clean. He shoved her back. Leave. Now, Sarah stumbled. Caught herself. That's when she saw it. Through the warehouse door, a glimpse, the hostages. Tied up. Terrified. And the weapon. A canister. Marked with chemical symbols, the guard grabbed her arm. I said Sarah moved. Her hand shot up. Struck his throat. Precise, he went down silently. The second guard raised his rifle. Sarah was faster. She disarmed him. 3 moves. Broke his wrist. He screamed. She silenced him with a blow to the temple. Both guards unconscious. 30 seconds. Sarah pulled a radio from her pocket. I'm in. Copy, the colonel responded. Kerf is standing by. Sarah dragged the guards behind a dumpster. Zip-tied their hands. Then she moved inside. The warehouse was massive. Shadows everywhere. She counted 6 more targets. All armed. The hostages were in the center. 12 people. Bound, gagged. One of the terrorists was pacing. Phone to his ear. The delivery is confirmed, he said in Arabic. Tomorrow night? The stadium. Sarah's blood turned to ice. The stadium. 50,000 people. She had to stop this. Now, she moved through the shadows. Silent as death. First target. Isolated. Near the back wall, she approached from behind. One hand over his mouth. The other struck his neck. He dropped. 5 left. Second target. By the chemical canister, 2 exposed. She needed a distraction. Sarah picked up a metal pipe. Threw it across the warehouse. It clattered loudly. 3 terrorists turned. Moved to investigate. Sarah slipped behind the second target. Same technique. Down, 4 left. But the third terrorist had seen her. He shouted. Raised his weapon, Sarah. Dove behind a crate. Bullets tore through the air. The hostages screamed through their gags. Sarah grabbed her radio. QRF. I need backup. Now. ETA 2 minutes. 2 minutes. An eternity. Sarah peered around the crate. For terrorists. All converging on her position. She was outnumbered, outgunned. But she'd been here before. She grabbed a fire extinguisher, pulled the pin, sprayed it directly at the terrorists. White foam exploded. Blinded them, Sarah charged through the cloud. First terrorist. Disarmed. Throat strike. Down. Second. Sweeping leg kick. Grabbed his weapon. Stalked to his face. Down. Third. He saw her coming. Fired. The bullet grazed. Her shoulder. Pain exploded. Sarah didn't stop. She closed the distance. Twisted his arm. Heard bone crack. He dropped. The 4th terrorist was running. Toward the canister. Sarah's heart stopped. He was going to release it. She ran faster than she'd ever run. He reached the canister. Hand on the valve, Sarah tackled him. They hit the ground hard. He swung at her. Caught her jaw. Stars exploded in her vision, but she didn't let go. She pinned him. Struck his face once. Twice. He went limp. Sarah rolled off him, gasping. Blood dripped from her. The warehouse doors exploded open. The QRF poured in. 20 operators in tactical gear. Clear, they shouted. Clear. Sarah sat on the ground, breathing hard. The colonel appeared. Knelt beside her. You're hit. It's nothing. He looked at the unconscious terrorists. At the secured chemical weapon. At the terrified but alive hostages. You did it, he said quietly. Sarah looked at the hostages. At their tear-streaked faces. Yeah, she whispered. I did 40-8 hours later. Sarah stood in the hospital parking lot again. Her shoulder was bandaged. Her body ached, but she was alive. The ER doors opened. Dr. Vance stepped out, followed by Dr. Chen, Melissa, Tom, the entire staff. They walked toward her, Sarah, tensed, but they weren't angry. Dr. Vance spoke first. "We heard what you did. The news won't report it. But the colonel told us." Sarah said nothing. "You saved thousands of lives," Dr. Chen added. Sarah looked at the ground. "I was just doing my job." "No," Melissa stepped forward. "You were being a hero." Sarah's throat tightened. "I'm not a hero," she said. "I'm just someone trying to make up for her mistakes." Dr. Vance smiled sadly. "Aren't we all?" She held out Sarah's hospital badge. "Your locker is still here," she said. "Your job is still here. If you want it." Sarah took the badge, stared at it. Captain Sarah Chen, the soldier. Sarah Chen, the nurse. 2 lives. 2 people. "I don't know who I am anymore," Sarah admitted. "You're both," Tom said simply. "You don't have to choose." Sarah looked up at him. "You can be strong and gentle," he continued. "A warrior and a healer. They're not opposites." Sarah felt something break inside her. Not painful. Liberating. She'd spent 2 years trying to bury the soldier, but maybe that was the wrong approach. Maybe she could be both. She put the badge in her pocket. "I need some time," she said. "To figure things out?" Dr. Vance nodded. "Take all the time you need. We'll be here," Sarah smiled. A real smile. "For the first time in years. Thank you." She turned to leave Sarah. Dr. Chen called. She looked back. "I'm sorry," he said. "For everything," Sarah nodded. "I know." She walked to her car as she drove away. She looked in the rearview mirror. The hospital faded behind her, but for the first time. She wasn't running from something. She was driving toward something. Toward herself. 2 weeks later, Sarah returned to the hospital. She walked through the ER doors. Badge clipped to her scrubs. The staff looked up. Smiled. "Welcome back," Melissa said. Sarah smiled. "It's good to be back." She went to the nurse's station. Checked the board. 3 patients waiting. Busy night ahead? Normal, but as she worked. As she checked vitals and started IVs and held frightened hands, she felt different. She wasn't hiding anymore. She was Sarah Chen. Nurse, soldier, survivor, and that was enough. Late that night, after her shift, Sarah sat in the break room. Her phone buzzed. A message from the "Colonel, we might need you again." Sarah stared at the message, then she typed a response. "I'll be here," because she finally understood. She didn't have to choose. Between her 2 lives, she could live both. The soldier who protected the nurse who healed both were her. Both were needed. She finished her coffee, stood up, clocked out. As she walked through the parking lot, she looked at the sky. Stars glittered overhead. Somewhere out there, people needed help, and whether they needed a soldier or a nurse, Sarah would be ready, because that's who she was. Not a ghost. Not invisible, eh? The doors behind her opened. Dr. Vance appeared. "Sarah, forgot your jacket." Sarah took it. "Thanks." Dr. Vance hesitated. "Can I ask you something?" "Sure. Do you regret it? Your old life?" Sarah thought about the question, about the missions, the blood, the losses, about the boy in Afghanistan every day, she said honestly. "But I don't regret who it made me." Dr. Vance nodded. "Understood. The world needs more people like you." Sarah smiled. "The world needs more people like all of us. Doctors who care, nurses who fight, people who refuse to give up." She put on her jacket. "See you tomorrow?" Dr. Vance grinned. "See you tomorrow, Captain." Sarah drove home. Her small apartment was quiet, peaceful. She made tea, sat by the window, looked at the city lights. Somewhere out there, someone was hurting. Someone needed help, and tomorrow she'd be there in scrubs or combat gear, whatever was needed, because she was Sarah Chen. and she didn't hide anymore. The end. Thank you for watching.